Hello everyone, welcome back to another match preview, our first home game at the Emirates Stadium for the new season. And it's simple, it's a must-win game. And probably on paper, when you look at this game against Leeds, it's probably the easiest fixture of our first 6 games. And it's probably the game that every single fan of every fan of Arsenal is probably banking on. This is the game that without a shadow of a doubt we are going to win, right? I mean, that's what it should be, right? And I mean, look, newly promoted side, the Leeds at the Emirates Stadium. Surely we beat them with no hiccups, right? But at the same time, you have to remember this is Arsenal, and Arsenal love making games more difficult than it needs to be. And I think a lot of fans now, especially in the last, compared to how we were feeling the last 48 hours to now, are quite excited going into this game. There was some excitement going into this game, especially with now, of course, the transfer of Eze, knowing it's been done, knowing that the whole deal was done, hijacking it from Tottenham at the last minute. I feel like the mood has definitely been lifted, and I think I'm definitely sure the atmosphere and the crowd, I think they're going to translate that onto the pitch. And I think his medical is to be done at the time of recording, so on a Friday. So it's quite obvious he's not going to be involved at all at the Leeds game. Maybe he might come out if it's announced before Friday. Maybe if it's announced at the night time, maybe we might see him get announced at the start of the game, or maybe at halftime he might come out and greet the fans and everything. But I think it'll probably be that. I think probably gets announced at the time of recording, because I'm recording on Thursday, so probably gets announced on Friday, and then probably at Saturday, maybe before the game, he probably comes out and claps the fans, just like similar to what Gyökeres did. But let's get into the game itself now. First, Leeds, yeah. Now, Leeds have just been promoted, okay, and they got the first win of the season against Everton. I think it was at home. And one thing I'm really happy about this game is the fact that this game is being played at the Emirates Stadium. Now, I know you got some fans might be thinking, what on earth does that mean? But I'll tell you why. I know it might sound crazy, but these newly promoted sides, okay, playing them at home in the first few games at the start of the season is difficult. I don't know what it is, but I think that's something that's probably, it's not played on paper. There's so many factors into it that sometimes you got these crazy stories, and that's why I'm so happy it's not being played at home especially at their ground in the first few games of the season, because the manager, if that was the case, the managers, the players, the fans are going to be up for it. Leeds has such a passionate fan base, and I could just imagine if we were playing at their ground at this time of the season, it was probably going to be one of those tricky games. So I don't know what it was going to be. It was probably going to be one of those games where Arsenal struggle a bit to get into the game. I remember a lot, I think 2 seasons ago, where we played against Luton and Declan Rice scored the winner. But I remember that game like it was yesterday, and my God, it was like a basketball match, and Luton were playing their hearts out, and I was thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? So I'm just so happy that this game, especially at the start of the season, is being played at the Emirates. Now, regardless of it being at the Emirates, the players are still going to be up for it, okay? I saw them play against Everton for a bit, and wow, these look good, man. These good. They were very up for it. And this is, coming up against the Emirates. Coming to play at the Emirates, the players are definitely going to be up for it, and you just know then it could be one of those games. If Arsenal are not on it, it could be one of those basketball games. But the main important thing is also don't get complacent. We saw from last season that sometimes also do have a tendency to get complacent. We saw it against when we played Leicester at home, and we saw it when we played Southampton. It took Martinelli to come on. I think it was Martinelli who came on as a sub and scored the win or something. And we basically ended up going life and death against both those teams. So let's just avoid doing that, okay? Let's just stay locked in. Hopefully the players get locked in, and we just win this game comfortable and with no issues. But for Arsenal, this is the perfect game to build some momentum. Now, we just came from a hard fixture at Old Trafford against Manchester United at the first game of the season, okay? So this is a perfect game to build some momentum for the players. Now, the most interesting thing about this game is I want to see what the manager goes with. There is so many different options. I think only bar 2 players, the rest of the team is fit. I think maybe 3 players, the whole team is fit. So it's so hard to predict what the first 11 will be, just because of how many different players there are, how many different options we have. And I think this is going to be key for this season, especially for Arsenal, that we need our players to stay fit, because we have a lot of squad depth, and that's the most exciting thing for me this season, is that we do have so many different options. When maybe a game's not going right, or when it's not working, we have different options that we can get off the bench and maybe change up the style of the game. And I think, especially at this game, I think the performance will be just as important as the result. I think a lot of fans is will be looking at the performance. I think everyone is expecting a big performance as well as a big result. Because, I think for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I'm expecting Arsenal to play some of the best football in this game. I'm expecting Arsenal to dominate the game. Okay, there's no excuses for this time. I mean, last game against Man United at Old Trafford, maybe there was some context behind it. Okay, but this game at home against a newly promoted side, I'm expecting a big performance, not just a result. The performance has to be a good performance, and I'm expecting a few goals, not just 1, 2. I'm expecting maybe 3 goals. Hopefully I don't jinx it, but I'm expecting 3, 4 goals this time. And this one will be a game for the players to build up the match fitness, the match sharpness, especially for our next game, which is Liverpool away. Okay, so the performance, as it will be just as key as the result. I think fans are wanting some confidence boost leading up to the game at Anfield, and there's going to be a lot of would I say expectation, a lot of pressure, but a lot of fans, I think myself even included, I'm going to be expecting some of our summer signings to have a big impact this game. I'm talking about the likes of Jokovic, the likes of Zubimendi. Like, I'm expecting, look, Jokovic didn't have the best of game against Manchester United. It was at Old Trafford, so there's probably going to be some pressure on him to get firing early and maybe score a few goals at Emirates against Leeds. And it's going to be interesting for Arsenal, to see how we get used to Gyökeres. Of course, now it's only the second game, so we're going to see the players adjust to Gyökeres. I want to see how we play. I want to see if it's going to be more direct, like we saw against Manchester United. I want to see if there's going to be different patterns of play. Because last game against Manchester United, you saw it was a bit more direct, and I want to see if they carry that on, or if it was just a one-time game. So let's see what happens. And if we don't play the direct football, we already know what's going to happen. Gyökeres will really struggle. Gyökeres is one of those type of players that we have to feed it to him, and we have to play towards his strength. And the way to play with Gyökeres, the way you feed towards his strength, is you have to play direct. None of this sideways football. So we have to play direct, and I think that's the best way. That's the best way moving forward to get the best out of Gyökeres. So that's going to be interesting, and of course, it's also going to be interesting to see what he goes up, what he lines up with. In this game, and especially it might give an indication towards the next game against Liverpool. So yeah, we're going to need a big performance, not just a scrappy result. We need a big result, because this time this game is going to be a confidence boost. Well, it should be a confidence boost, because we need it against our next game. So not only do we need to win, but I'm expecting a big performance leading up to the Liverpool game, because Liverpool, they look absolutely on fire. So many summer signings. Like, look at the players they have. Ruas, Ekatike, maybe they might sign Isaac by the time we play them. Gay, there's just so many factors going into this Liverpool game. So this game against Leeds, we need to see some positive signs, and that's probably the most important thing about this game, is how we perform in this game in terms of our performance, our style of play, and maybe this game is probably going to be the platform to build upon for the next few games. But yeah, in terms of the lineup for me, this is my lineup. I'm sure it's up there on the screen. And like I said, when I talk about options, this is one of the more exciting thing for me this season, that we just got so many different options. Like, for example, who starts left wing this time? Is it going to be a Saka? Is it going to be a Madueke? Or is it going to be, both of them are going to interchange during the game? Who knows? But this is my team. I'm going to go with a similar team to what we saw against Manchester United, except for the fact that Timber is now coming back in. I think there was an open training session at Arsenal, and apparently Ben White was not seen. So I think Ben White is injured, so it probably does look like Timber will be coming in. And this time I have included Madueke. But if you have realized, it's not Madueke on the left-hand side, but I'm playing Madueke on the right-hand side. And there's a reason for it. For me, the reason is because of the fact that Saka is so good. He can play. It doesn't matter which flank you put him on, whether you put him on the left flank, whether you play him on the right flank. It really doesn't matter. He is going to perform. Whilst Madueke, on the other hand, he doesn't play the best on the left wing, like we saw against Manchester United. Like, that's not his best position. And I think to really get the best out of Madueke, we have to platform him. We have to put him in his best position, which is the right wing. So I think that's the way I would go with. Apparently this was seen in the open training. Apparently there was some, some parts of the game, apparently some fans saw that they saw Madueke on the right wing, and Saka on the left wing. And who knows, this could be the case moving forward, and maybe they interchange during the game. I do think Martinelli will probably be dropped. We saw him against Manchester United. He didn't have the best of game, to be honest. So I do think we probably will see Madueke into this game. But for me, I do want to see him on that right wing, just because I feel that on the left wing, it's not his best position. And for him to perform, he needs to be on that right wing. I think when he's on that right wing, he's able to come inside as well as outside. Because when we did see him against Manchester United, when he came on as a left winger, the thing is with Madueke, he becomes a bit too predictable. He's always cutting inside. He's always going on the outside. But you put him on the right wing, now he's able to change. He's able to change his direction. So for me, I would go with Madueke on the right side, just so I can give him the best platform. And Saka, whether you want to play him striker, whether you want to play him as a midfielder, it doesn't matter. This guy is so good. He's going to perform. So that's why for me, I'm going with Saka on the left wing. But that's just my lineup. At the end, we need a big result, and as well as the result, I want to see a good performance. I want to see a domination performance. I want to see Arsenal, I want to see how we play in this game. I want to see a bit more direct football. I don't want to see this sideways football. Okay, I want to see us be more direct, us moving the ball much quicker, and I think we probably might see that. I don't want to give 100% guarantee we probably will, because maybe sometimes we might just resort to what we know, but I do want to see something different. I want to see more direct. I want to see us passing forward. I want to see runners. I want to see Gyökeres gain on the score sheet. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. As long as Arsenal don't get complacent, we should go win the game. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.